Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this special interview being conducted in the sidelines of the 7th International Conference, Spirituality Beyond Repertoire, a leadership key to societal happiness and sustained harmony at the School of Management Sciences, Varanasi. Today we are privileged to have with us Professor Anjali Bhelande, retired Associate Professor, Ramnarai Ruia College, Mumbai. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome to this interview session. And let me begin by asking you, today is the second day of this international conference, and just before this interview you were speaking in the plenary session. So how have been your experience up till now?
I think it was very enriching, and it was extremely well organized in terms of inviting speakers who were spirited and were able to connect with the delegates. And they were majorly young delegates. And I think you're doing a marvelous job. Okay, however, may I add that I feel there should be more of practitioners who are practicing spirituality rather than just theorizing.
Okay.
You know, for instance, yesterday Swami Shuddhanand was able to deliver so well because he practices. And of course, Mahesh Bhatt Sahab also did marvelously, and you know that he has been associated with the UG Krishnamurti.
Yes.
And he lives what he speaks.
He speaks, yes.
So it's these kind of speakers who should be given more time to, in fact, make the audience get a first-hand experience of what it means to go beyond thought mind.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for appreciating our efforts and giving us some feedback that as to how we can further improve the quality of such conferences. I want to tell you, and you might be aware of this, that we have a Center of Spirituality and Human Enrichment in our college.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, where we try to amalgamate the spiritual values, spirituality with academics, which is badly needed in these days.
Correct.
So, what are your views about this initiative of
SMS?
Actually, this 7th conference, this center does many activities. They organize workshops, they organize yoga sessions, meditation sessions, and every year it organizes international conferences. And this one is the 7th in this line.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm all for it, because I myself have founded a Center for Mindfulness in Ruia College. I was its convener. And I think it's the need of the hour, because students need holistic education. What we have today is a colonial hangover. It's education that is thought-based, idea-based, concept-based, and it is dishing out second-hand knowledge without any first-hand experience of what we are. So I'm very happy you have this initiative.
And like you said, you also have similar centers.
Yes, it was such a rewarding experience. I did it for myself too, because even the faculty need it. It's not just students. We all need it. And I think the students, I have a link, in fact, Ruia Mindfulness Center, which you can look at, and you will see the kind of questions the students have raised on fear, anger, multitasking. These are the things they are struggling with. And there is no scope in our current syllabi to address these issues, except maybe the literature classes and the psychology classes, which not everybody is taking. So I think it's absolutely important.
Are you still active in that center?
Right now I've handed over to other very competent and committed colleagues, because I'm engaged in editing the writings of my Guru Dada Gawant. And also I want to now cut down on cerebral activity and focus more on inner inquiry, self-inquiry. So this is my choice. I would like to be with nature and to be in silence, because I have led an active life for 37 years. Now it is Vanaprasthashram and Sannyas, which is pulling me in its embrace. So I'm going to try my best to explore further in that direction. Yes.
So my another question is, this concept, the topic of this concept was around spirituality.
Yes.
So what is your definition of spirituality? How do you define spirituality?
Yeah, definitions are what the mind demands. The heart doesn't want definitions. But nevertheless, spirituality comes from the word spirit, which is a subtle energy field which we are simply not aware of. We are only aware of the gross level physical self. There are the Panchakoshas and in our Shastras, and we are not aware of them. What we are trained to do is maybe some gymnastics or some PT in school, which helps us make contact with our physical self, and then we don't have anything else. Some schools now have yoga pranayam, so now they are helping the pranamaya kosh, but there are other layers, and we don't know ourselves. And simply giving them a whole long list of ethical practices and moral values is going to mean nothing unless the urge comes from within, through understanding that I and the other are the same energy. This is pure physics, quantum physics, that the energy is the same. So once you know that there is no separative consciousness, you don't have to struggle to do things for others, because you see yourself in the other. Or if you are a bhakti margi, you see the divine in the other. Whether the other is inanimate or animate, you begin to spontaneously and happily be selfless.
But the question is, how can we do this? How can we make people realize all these things?
You can do it. First, we have to begin from where we are, and our students are used to thoughts and ideas, so we can begin at the intellectual level. And when you explore the intellectual domain, you realize it has its limits. You stumble upon the fact that thought is limited. It can take you this far and no further. When you see this, then you start going into silence, where words are absent. Thought movements have to cease for a while. It's not possible, because thoughts keep coming. Even saints have said until they die they come. But then they come like clouds, which stay and go, and they are not identified with, because the sages realize that they are not the clouds, they are the sky dimension on which the clouds appear, stay and go away. It is this which has to be driven home, that we are the screen on which the movie of life is unfolding. Sometimes the movie is a tragedy, sometimes it's a comedy, sometimes it is romance, but they are all movies. But you are the screen, which is pure, untainted, and extremely vast, divine, luminous, and infinite. This knowledge comes only through practice or through grace. Sometimes it happens to people without practice, because this is the whole field of the unknown, and whatever science has discovered is so very infinitesimal. It is so tiny. The field of the known is so tiny compared to the unknown, and that unknown can't be known through the thought mind alone, because it has its limits. For that you have to go beyond thought into complete silence, and you have to observe without interference of thought. This is the Gyan Yoga, but for others it may not work. They might want to go through bhakti. But what is bhakti? It is surrendering of the ego and the will, the individual will, complete humility and complete trust in the universe. What we have in the name of bhakti is not true bhakti. And bhakti is not easy as a result. How many of us want to surrender our egos? Okay. So, but according to your nature, your genetic makeup and your conditioning, you are going to choose the practice. Okay? And nowadays there is the practice of doing nothing, which means Sakshi Bhav and witnessing in a detached manner. That is also not easy. Nothing is easy as long as the mind is given power to interfere. But you have to understand that the mind is supposed to be your servant, not your master.
We have to tame the mind.
Yeah, my guru used to say the real terrorist is your own mind.
Very true.
And what you see outside is what is there inside in each one of us. So for societal happiness, first set this house in order. If each one of us does that, then society itself will come into order.
Very true, very true.
Moreover, discipline has to come from within through understanding. Discipline is not repressive. It is not a matter of enforced action.
One more thing is coming in my mind. Can spirituality be a solution for the negativity, chaos, a lot of violence all around us?
Definitely, because the purpose of spirituality is to understand the demon in ourselves. The moment we understand it in ourselves, we understand the world. And then we come into love and compassion and empathy, and then there will not be any conflict. There is conflict with ourselves and also with the world, because we have this ignorant avidya that we are a separate self, me, mine, always threatened by the universe, which is my enemy. In such an atmosphere, there can only be war and conflict and violence. So it's extremely important to have a spiritual base, which was there in our ancient universities, but because of the colonization project, everything got wiped out, and we started worshipping only ideas and thoughts and concepts. Our indigenous education has never been simply thought-based. It has been very deep, and mind science of India, we call it mind science now, so that people don't raise doubts and questions about religion and territory and nationality and Indian system, because it's the same energy. So we have to go in this way so that people are receptive. And we have to go through neuroscience. Insights from neuroscience. There is something called neurotheology coming up, where there's scientists like Andrew Newberg, who used to doubt everything. He had many questions in his mind, ultimate questions, science-based questions, and he never got answers. That would make him agitated. And he was looking and not getting the answers. But one fine day, he just kept quiet. And he got an insight. It was like a mini enlightenment for him, that he's not going to find the answers through thought. You see? And that was grace. And he accepted this totally. And he was at peace. So his friend said, "Oh, now you won't be a scientist then. You won't continue with your work." He said, "On the contrary, I will continue it without conflict now, without being disturbed, without expecting results." This is Bhagwat Gita. Okay? I shall keep doing it, my work, my research. In fact, I'm doing it with better zeal now and with no conflict. So if our students could achieve this kind of state, they will not commit suicide when they get low marks, and they will give their best to the universe.
Ma'am, you have taught students English, and we teach students here management and computer science.
Right.
So, any message for them?
Yes,
with regard to
these are skills, technical skills, which you are teaching.
Yeah.
Of course, now you are using soft skills also. Emotional intelligence has come in, okay, because how will you manage people if you don't know your emotional setup? But self-management should be the mantra, and for self-management you have to know yourself. So whatever you do, you can't escape it. Unless you know all the layers of consciousness within you, you will not be able to manage either yourself or people without conflict. So management students have to understand this. And all our sages have given you lessons in management. There is in Maharashtra, the saint Ramdas, who helped Shivaji fight the invaders. You see? So please do not think that spirituality and material life, worldly life, are poles apart. For us, everything is divine. Even that is a manifestation of the divine. Even the terrorist is the manifestation of the divine. Strange as it may sound, in the Gita, Krishna says, I am the gambler and the cheat. This entire Leela, this entire play of good and evil is the divine. And the evil is there to discover your own divinity.
Wonderful.
So you see, this is, and therefore students should be encouraged to face their demons, not brush it under the carpet and have some temporary remedies. If you want a real uprooting of your negative tendencies, whether they are anger and fear, these are the two big ones. Fear breeds anger. When you're afraid, you want to attack the other. You feel everyone's there to attack you, so you are all set. Sometimes you imagine it and then you attack before the other person attacks. Whether it's at the level of ideas, thoughts, people are so attached to their belief systems. You should see management group discussions, how excited students get. They should be encouraged to see Anekantavad, which is a Jain approach. The elephant, some people, the blindfolded people saw it as a trunk, as a rope, etc. So the relative world, it has many sides to it. And we wear blinkers, and because of our conditioning, we see things from our point of view and we don't see the whole truth. So this whole game is about, this whole activity, spirituality, is about understanding life in its totality, with its plus and minus, negative and positive, because that charge is there in nature. The positive magnet, the negative pole of the magnet, these are things in nature and they are there for a purpose.
One more question is coming in my mind. We are living in the Google era. These students nowadays, they are a new generation, people with smartphones in their hand, always connected 24/7, Facebook, Instagram and all.
Sure.
And your generation and my generation and their generation, there is a disconnect.
Yes, true.
But the spirituality is relevant for all three of us.
Yes.
How to connect them with these?
Yes, this is a very good question, because the internet is available to connect people, but people are getting separated. Isn't it ironic? You know, because there is no communion. Leave alone communion, even communication is irrelevant today, you know, in the sense that people are communicating ideas and thoughts which are frivolous, which are not subtle enough. So people are wasting time and energy. There's energy leakage, you know. So this is a matter of great concern, because it is dividing families. Parents complain that children have no time for them. People are, you know, driving while the phone is on. All kinds of things are happening. But this is the abuse of technology. But technology in itself is neutral. It's up to us. It can be put to very good use. There are many spiritual teachers using technology. For instance, Rajiv Kapoorji has online satsangs using iCloud technology. What a lovely thing. And we meet on these groups, you know. From all over the world, people can see you, hear you, you can intervene. So it's up to you what use you put it to. And for that again, education plays a role. What is the purpose of education? Is it to create and to prepare students for jobs? That's only one peripheral purpose of education. To educate is to draw out the best in the student. Are we drawing out the best? We are only encouraging them to have cutthroat competition and become go-getters, and especially in the world of business and marketing. And so every management institute should become aware of this. And whatever you undertake, whatever job, whatever life, yes, is it for the good of all? Your good is important, but is it at the cost of others? Is it at the cost of the environment? That has to be seen. If you are an intelligent human being who cares for the universe and want to leave behind to the next generation a meaningful and peaceful universe, you should have this long view. People are short-sighted. They want instant things. This is the era of instant coffee and instant everything. Instant nirvana also. Instant nirvana also. You see? So this is the thing. We have to make students aware of where they are going and what do they want. And this is a land where people have led austere lives. That doesn't mean you should start living austere lives, but at least you should be aware of the way we are wasting resources, water bodies are, dwindling, and where are we going? And the planet will survive, you won't survive. The planet has enough intelligence to survive.
Right.
It's we who will perish. But then we needn't get over anxious about it. We do our bit, and it will take care of itself.
The nature.
I'm not a pessimist. I feel there are surprises of history, and wisdom dawns when it comes up to here. When you are neck deep in trouble, and you realize, and then you drop the faulty lifestyle. And there's so many communes already emerging. If there are students, my students, in all my lectures I used to say, do you want to settle in this metro just for that fat salary? And then you won't have time for your wife and your children. And your wife is going to join the corporate as well. What a disaster. And you'll then buy an apartment in a tower, and after a while the tower will not have electrical supply. It's going to happen. You're building these towers, how will the water go up in the absence of electricity? So do you want...
Well, if the water itself is not there...
And it's not there at all. So you want short-term prayas, which is a life of pleasure, sense pleasures, or you want shreyas. This is from the Kathopanishad, 1.2.2. That verse says, you have a choice. The wise man chooses shreyas. Shreyas is higher bliss. Shri is light, luminosity. Okay? And that is for the well-being of the whole universe, because you are part of it. It's not just your welfare, nor is it just the welfare of the universe. You are the universe. So you will take the right action. But that realization has to dawn. Whereas, because of the Western impact, we have been embracing individualism. India has been a community-oriented society, but individualism has set in. Me, mine. That's it.
So, like you, I'm also optimistic that the world will take a better shape. And
there is a higher power which will take care of it all. But we have to do our bit, each one of us. And it's not an easy path. I consider myself a seeker. I haven't yet fully understood what I say. At least I've not realized it. I humbly accept that. But I shall never give up trying. It draws me, this kind of exploration.
So are we. We are also the seekers. And thank you so much,
God bless you. God bless.
Thank you so much for giving your time and giving us the insight and your valuable words. Thank you so much once again. Thank you.